Damn, y'all feel it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR _podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR, and we are back, and we are in the building for episode 53 of Know the Ropes podcast. Yes, Know the Ropes podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back, and we're in the building, and the gang is all here again together. Yes, my brothers, Big Harv, J-Bo himself. How are y'all doing today? Welcome back. How is it today for y'all?
Oh, I am doing great. Since y'all missed me last episode, I had to take the fam over to the world's most expensive place. That daggone mouse. Run that back in a few weeks. But yep, I'm back. Just beat COVID. I'm still alive. I'm doing great. Yeah, I can't complain.
That's good. Glad to hear it. Glad you're back with us. And shout out to Mickey Mouse for running his pockets. Big Harv, how you feeling?
Rodents, dude. How you doing, Harv?
I'm drinking, man. I'm drinking.
Very good.
Yeah. Shout out to the drink, shout out to the fam, shout out to the squad, shout out to KTR, because we are back. And before we dive into this episode, I gotta do this one simple favor for us real quick, and that just is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR _podcast, Twitter, Instagram, No Ropes Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Ropes Podcast, all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, probably more everything. And don't forget to get your merch at prowrestlingtees.com/KTR podcast. Let's get down to business. Let's get into this episode real quick. First and foremost, I want to dive into this topic real well because I feel like it's going to be a good conversation. And also, we want to start off the conversation with some brothers too as well. And that is with the Street Profits of Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Yes, they are a very prominent tag team. They have been in the business for a good minute. They worked their way from the bottom to the top, and now they're here. But while they're here, there's been some, you know how the wrestling community is nowadays. There's been some talks. There's been some rumors. There's been some sighting about a possible breakup or split between the Street Profits, unfortunately. And you know why? Because the company doesn't appreciate good tag team wrestling, even though this tag team stole the show with the Usos at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which was in Las Vegas, my favorite city of all time. Thank you very much. But it's crazy that they want to break up this tag team when they don't have as many tag teams on the roster right now. And it's just baffling and it's mind-blowing about them wanting to break that up. That's one part of the story. Secondly, part of the story, reason though I was for the breakup is because all the talks is behind Montez Ford. There's been a quote unquote noticing of his, physique has been built up. People saying he's looked jacked, he's looked huge, No, granted, he is a great athlete. He's a hell of an athlete, hell of charisma and everything, all that. So he does have the tools to be a great singles competitor. We all can see that. But for some odd reason, people have been having their doubts about Angelo Dawkins for some odd reason. And with that being said, y'all need to stop sleeping on dudes. Y'all, my opinion, if my opinion is more of a fact too, the man, he built up properly. He got size to him. That man was 6'4", 6'5", a solid 250, 260, 100, 260, whatever. To move, he can handle himself on the microphone as well. It ain't like he bad at wrestling because he's decent at that. He could fly over the top rope. He can do power moves for it. So he got the jack of all trades pretty much. He can do anything you ask him to do. But with this always being said, with the split up and the possibility of pushing Montez forward to the top, how do y'all feel about this whole rumor of the breakup happening? Jay, but we're gonna let you speak first because this is your welcome to back party.
Well, thank you, Cinko. I highly appreciate it. If we think back to a podcast episode we had, it was about a year ago. I remember we spoke on Montez Ford as a singles competitor. And I remember myself saying that at that point, how WWE was treating them, even as a tag team, is that if they were to break off Montez Ford, at the time, I did not see him no further than a mid-card wrestler. I stated that on one of our shows. However, the thing with Montez is not only he still got the same athletic ability that he had then, he still had the same mic work that he had back then, so he's still great in all those areas, but now he's putting himself in a position to look like the type of guys WWE would like to push. Now that you put all three of those together, he has a great opportunity to be single. If he's a singles competitor, tag team competitor, from what he is doing with himself, as long as he continues on, I think he's going to have a great career no matter what. I agree with you, Cinko, that no one needs to sleep on Angelo Dawkins. Obviously, Montez Ford stands out. It's more of a comparison thing. If you stand Angelo Dawkins next to Montez Ford, Montez is just going to stand out. No knock to Angelo. But what I'm afraid of with Angelo is that I feel like they're going to give him, rest in peace, the Shad Gaspard treatment. What I mean by that is they're going to separate him. They're going to turn him into a heel because, like you said, he got size, he got the movements, he got the intimidating factor. They will use him in a storyline with Montez Ford, obviously. And then after they break up, they're going to keep pushing Montez Ford, and Angelo just going to fall on the wayside. I think Angelo Dawkins has worked well over to deserve more than that, but that's what I'm afraid of that they'll do with him. So I see a bright future for Montez Ford, but honestly, yes, if that were to happen, if they were to break up, I don't know where WWE is going to take Angelo.
That's a good fact. I agree with you on that because that is how their system works when they break up a tag team. And I feel like, if they do that, it won't be Angelo's Dawkins' fault per se.
It's not.
If the career doesn't go the way how it should go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He worked butt off to get to where he is now. If anyone who follows him, even in FCW, NXT, he's been in all kind of tag teams and factions and all this stuff. And the fact that he made it not only work, but work tremendously with Montez Ford, it's just a testament to his work ethic and what he can do. But yeah, I just don't know what they'll do.
Big Harv.
Street Profits remind me of exactly what happened with Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, where Jason Jordan was down there for a while. NXT wasn't really clicking, just like Angelo Dawkins. Then he finally found somebody that put him on the right level, and he rose with him.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it's gonna go with the breakup as well. They see more value in one talent than they see the other. We know that WWE looks at the tag team basically as more developmental. They look at it to find out who they see as the big star of the two, and that's who they're going to work with going forward. I feel like they both need at least another year as a tag team before they do any type of breakup.
Yeah, I can see that.
Angelo Dawkins, I feel like I agree with y'all. He's a great talent. He shouldn't be slept on at all. I just feel like he's more generic of the two. They do well playing off of each other, and once he loses that charisma that Montez Ford naturally brings to the group, it's going to be harder for him on the main roster solo, regardless of what they do with him. And like y'all said, that's not his fault. That's their fault. They don't know how to break up tag teams effectively. And really, this tag team, they don't need to break up for at least another year. But Angelo Dawkins, I feel like his attire doesn't help. He looks like like he's on the practice squad in the NBA. You know what I mean? He still got the old school headband. He wore the little jersey and the shorts with the long socks. It's the look. It makes him look more old school. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but compared to
Montez Ford,
who's now getting swole, you know what I'm saying? He out there. He's got the regular tights, but their colors and the way that they actually design their stuff is actually raw. So it's a lot to go into it, but they don't need to break up yet. If they break up, it'll be a mistake right now. We still don't know that WWE is actually going to push him the right way. It took to 2020 for Black wrestlers to really be in that top position for a substantial amount of time. And even when they were, look who they got fed to. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, it's still a toss-up regardless of what they do.
So, Harv, you said that you think they should be around for another year. Well, we see how WWE is treating tag teams. So, what can we expect out of them if the division that they're in itself isn't even effective?
That's why I said that before. They don't care about tag teams. It's used as developmental. I recognize that. I just feel for the sake of tag team wrestling in WWE, they need a mainstay team. They have the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to break up the Usos. But other than that, who they have as a mainstay tag team? They don't.
They don't. You're right.
It's just them and New Day pretty much. And like, and I look at it like this, because the Usos show, well, more so with the New Day, but also the Usos. Well, these two tag teams show that you can still star in singles competition by yourself while still having a partner, pretty much. And there's no need for the breakup. For instance, with Kofi Kingston winning the WWE title, even though Big E won the title, he was separated, so they don't kind of count. Xavier Woods getting King of the Ring. Jey Uso main eventing, even though Jimmy was out due to injury. And also, I could relate this to an NXT faction as well with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Yeah. Two separate, I mean, they work together, even though they're a tag team when needed, but at the same time, they have two different personalities. They're together in the support, but they have their own views. And you see how they're starting to develop their own thing with Trick Williams by himself now. Why can't it be like the same situation with these two people, with Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins?
I think I can answer that. Like, for example, if you look at the New Day, I think the reason why after all these years they're giving them singles opportunities but keeping them together is because WWE finds value in each wrestler individually. They found value on Kofi, but they see value together. They obviously see value in Big E, but they want to keep them together. Xavier Woods, even though the King of the Ring didn't go anywhere, especially with the stuff he's doing outside of the WWE, they find value in him. So they let him do their singles thing and come together. Even with what they're doing right now with Trick Williams and Carmelo, I think they're starting to see value in Trick because he's great on the mic, even though he's green as hell. Like, he's good on the mic. And the Carmelo. So they're seeing value in both, but also together. I think the problem that they're having with Angelo Dawkins and Montez, and Harv mentioned it too, everyone clearly sees value in Montez Ford, but they don't see that equal value in D'Angelo. D'Angelo. So with that's why they're probably going to phase one out and focus on Montez. They don't have that same effect like New Day had.
Popular because they feed off of each other, and I do think as a duo they are like great charisma wise, but after they separate, Angelo's not going to be able to keep it up by himself.
No,
he needs that to feed off of, is my thing. Otherwise he wouldn't have had to wait for Montez to actually start building up in NXT and then finally to the main roster.
Let's be honest here. He needs Montez. He does. Or even if it's not Montez, he needs a mouthpiece with just as much, if not equal, charisma as Montez for him to keep that same energy going. So,
feed off of. If you got something to feed off of, and Angelo, like we have all been saying this whole time, he's talented. He's very talented. It's more WWE's fault that they won't know what to do with him without Montez. That's the problem. It's not his problem. It's really not problem that he's going to have to overcome, but it's not a problem that he would be creating.
Understood, get that. So like I said, hope for the best for both of them. Hope they don't split them up, but we know how the company works when it comes to tag teams. So we're going to see what happens in the future. But moving forward, talking about the future, let's talk about Austin Theory let's talk about Theory real quick. The former United States champion and now Mr. Money in the Bank. Youngest Mr. Money in the Bank, the youngest United States champion. Theory. I ain't gonna lie, he's starting to grow on me a little bit. I'm like, the character. I was like at first about him, I was like, I'm not too sure about him, but I really can't hate his ring work because he's great within the ring. So like that's one thing right there. But now his character is starting to, work on me. Like, pretty much. It just took some time. Like I didn't like it at first, but it's starting to work because he's coming out to a great heel. There's good talks about him, just with his work on backstage and in front of the screen. And like I said, he's doing real good work right now. And with that, how you feel about Theory overall? Him winning Money in the Bank and him being a possible future champion, a future undisputed champion of the business.
I'm perfectly okay with that. One of the ongoing trends of at least Know the Rose podcast is that we speak on a lot how WWE are not pushing future guys. And now we have an example of somebody who's out of the blue, but they are pushing him. They're pushing him hard, but they're pushing him. He's young. He's fresh. He got a build that they like. He's doing better on the mic over time. Obviously, he still got a lot of gray areas he got to work out on, but like it's somebody that's not normal that they're pushing up. He's not in one of my top pretty much anything right now, but I do enjoy to see him work. I've enjoyed seeing him involved. I didn't really care too much for this NXT stint. The way Johnny Gargano and Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, they was way more entertaining. I didn't really care for his Disciples gimmick with Murphy and Seth Rollins. So this storyline I am liking, and like Cinko, it's growing on me. My only suggestions actually got nothing to do with Austin. It's just that they need to have that same energy with more up and coming wrestlers. If they had that same energy, then we wouldn't have these normal conversations on, all right, well, Roman's still champion. There's nobody left. There's maybe Seth Rollins, but if they keep doing what they're doing with Austin Theory, Austin Theory and other up and coming, then I think this whole thing will work out terrific.
Big Harv.
I agree. That was the main thing I was going to touch on is that, yes, they're finally building somebody, but one person's not going to do it. That's their problem now. They choose one. They stick to one. He'll be the third one. We had Cena, we had Reigns, and now we'll have him. They only want to push that one person to the moon. They have to do it with more people. Of course, kudos for finally doing it with somebody. I'm not a fan. I'm not as much a fan as either of y'all are. J-Bo, you even said you're not really a fan just yet, but I'm nowhere near there. I like to take given a new opportunity. I'm you know what I'm saying, he can go in the ring. I've always said he can go in the ring. I just don't like his gimmick. And I don't know, he annoys me more than anything. Not the kind of annoy that you like as a wrestling heel, you know what I'm saying? I don't like his face. I don't know.
You said the same thing about the Miz too.
No, I didn't.
I said you like his face.
And on top is because of his face. I said he had a weird face.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Hold on. You're right. There's the one photo he took with Vince McMahon, I forgot, WrestleMania, or like the night he won or something. Like that picture still haunts me to this day because that's one freaky selfie that he took. So he
got a weird face.
I guess with the mustache and the chin goatee, it looked weird. It looked like an old young person.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Like he 24, but he want to look like he's 45. But I feel it makes sense.
I'm not there yet, but I'm glad that they trying to build somebody. I'm sure that over more time he'll snag me and get me on his side. But right now, I'm just happy that they building somebody new.
Yeah.
So with that, when do you think he will cash in his Money in the Bank contract?
I want to be optimistic that they're going to give us some type of swerve, that they're going to give us something that we're not going to expect. But I feel that they're trying to rush his stardom because their main guy right now is part-time, Reigns. So I do see it being predictable, and I do see him attempting, just not successful at SummerSlam. But
so you think he's not going to actually be successful with the cash in?
That'll be way too fast of a cash in. Way too fast. And they got so many other more profitable storylines I think they would invest more into right now. But I think he will cash it in, but he won't win just yet. I think he'll win the title a different way.
I think if we're being about Money in the Bank, there are far more botched wins than there are actual wins that led to something substantial. So with that in mind, I think that he's going to try to cash in. I don't think that he's going to actually turn the briefcase in when he go out there at SummerSlam. I do think he's going to make the attempt. I think when he does cash in that he is going to win, because I do feel like they're trying to push that boy to the moon. And they really need somebody on that left. We just know that the people that they have done that in the past with, it's never worked out. So I'm thinking really sometime before Royal Rumble is when he'll cash it in. And I do think he'll be successful.
I'll elaborate more on that. I still think that he is going to cash in and lose it, but he may use the fact that he is so buddy with Vince McMahon to give him another unforeseen opportunity, and that's when he'll grab the belt. That seems more realistic with what they're doing with Theory right now.
You know how much longer we got Vince McMahon in there, don't it?
Wow, man. Speaking of the devil there, you want to talk about Vince McMahon real quick?
Might as well.
Man, hold on, let me pull the article up real quick. I know it's on our story right now. We're just going to do a quick reading of it. Oh, man. Vince and Kenny McMahon, what are you doing? So, per Bleacher Report.
What we been doing? What you
think? We know we've been doing, but they added more information today when we found out about it. Vince McMahon paid $12 million to 4 women over the past 16 years to stop allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity becoming public, per the Wall Street Journal. Woo! J-Bo, you weren't here when we had the first conversation about Vince McMahon, but now more news will pop out today on an episode day. We're going to let you touch on it real quick. Because we broke down how we felt about it. We weren't surprised about this stuff coming out. It was just when. That's what we're wondering about. But let us know, because let's say 12 million or 16 million. What did I say?
I think it was 16 million.
$16 million. So is this why we having budget cuts? is this why people are not getting retained back to their jobs and losing out contracts because you paid $12 million?
Oh my goodness! So I think when the first initial news came out, some weeks ago, month ago, I mentioned that the greatest character that was ever built in the WWE is the one that Vince McMahon created of himself. Is because not only is that his on-stage personality, but that's also his real life personality. If anyone watched wrestling from like the late 90s to like the very early 2000s, none of this should be a surprise to you. None of this. How his promos and the segments with the likes of Stacy Keibler and Trish Stratus and on and on.
Stratus. Especially Trish Stratus.
Especially Trish. Then you see the type of matches they had bra and panties matches and the mud wrestling matches and all matches that
down matches.
The sponsorship with Playboy.
Gosh, Playboy even. None of this is a surprise. What's kind of bothersome though is it was over the last 16 years, right, Cinko?
Yeah.
So
for like 4 years. Or no, it wasn't it was like the last 20-some years, wasn't it?
No, you saw the article said the past 16 years paying that $12 million.
The 12 million.
Yeah.
16 years. So if we do the math, that should lead back to around 2006. And around 2006, that's when John Cena and Batista was really getting into their superstardom, which was also when Vince McMahon started to have a seat back because he wanted to push the stars up. So I find it ironically that when this all started, it also created the era of the Cenas and the Batistas. So that's the separated of money that's going in. Sam, I'm kind of upset that you brought up the fact of that's why these budget cuts are taking place, because now there's a good argument as to what has been taking place over time. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised with the money. To be honest, I feel there's more women. than what just came up. And I think there's going to be even more stuff that's going to come out as things play out. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's definitely a so far number. Ain't no way is that little and for that few years, because you've known it's like he wanted to have a storyline where he was fucking his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, when you think about the mind that type of stuff comes from, it's not far-fetched that this is what's been going on. You know what I'm saying? I know they said one of them was a manager and one of them was even a superstar. I'm sure that there have been several more. I mean, it's all alleged. So allegedly, there have been more. You know what I'm saying? It's just men in power. That's what they do. It's if you look back at history, if you look at any big, huge company, if you look at the Harvey Weinstein and all these other people, it's not now. I'm gonna say it's natural, but it's normal for them to be caught up in stuff like this.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. As much as we've speculated about it over the years, you never want something like that to be true. You know what I'm saying? It's just not far-fetched at all.
Yeah.
I ain't got no words, man. It's like I said, I ain't shocked or surprised. I was like, where all this money coming from? Where the money? Like, we know where the money coming from, obviously. I'm just like,
12 million ain't nothing to a billionaire.
I'm an act. If I was an active roster wrestler over the last 16 years, and I had to get let go because of budget cuts, and then I hear something like this, and we're part of the money, because this may not even be everything. This has just been what's been revealed. It may have been even more money that's been good, and I find that, boy, I'll be so heated. That I can't imagine the frustration I would have. But then again, it's also not a surprise.
Right, because that 12 million is like up to probably like on average, probably like maybe like 8 to 10 mid-card contracts.
Shoot, maybe. If we're talking like if this started around 2006, where they're paying wrestlers more nowadays, it may actually be close to 12, 15 superstars along that range.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, that's upsetting.
That's wild. So like I said, we waiting for more numbers to come out, more information to come out. We'll keep y'all engaged, and we'll keep you in touch about if any more news pop up. But when I saw this morning, I was like, damn.
Oh my gosh, Vince McMahon said that Batista was not going to be the only animal. That's for sure.
He's talking about the genetic. Thought he was playing. That boy wasn't playing.
Man, this is wild. Okay, we gonna touch on the last topic today, and that's with Liv Morgan, who was this year's Miss Money in the Bank, and also cashed that shit in immediately. It became the new SmackDown's Women's Champion.
Yes,
it's about time. Well deserved, well needed. They gave her the title. Well, I'm not gonna say she gave it. Well, I mean, Money Bank is getting. She earned it, but at the same time, they gave her the title the way on how the storyline should have worked, because they didn't want to see her. Like I told y'all before, they didn't want to see her beat somebody like a Ronda Rousey or Bianca 1-1 fair and square. So that's the right way for the winning title. Like how what's her name, Nikki ASH won the title against Charlotte last year when she cashed in her Money in the Bank. Because they want to make her look stronger than the person, but they knew she deserved the title by this time, so it made sense. But with all the support and all the love and all of the congratulations behind Liv Morgan and her well-deserved earned title, how do y'all feel about it, and how long do y'all think it will last, if we being real?
Okay, so if we're being real here, and in my opinion,
first off, there's no hate over here to Liv Morgan. We love Liv Morgan. So like I'm saying, I don't know what type of opinions that we're gonna say or they're gonna have, but like I said, we love her. But at the same time, we're gonna be real. So yeah, go ahead, Demo.
I want to be as transparent as possible. So honestly, the main, if not the only reason why I do like Liv Morgan is because she worked for her position. She worked to get to that position that she's in now. However, I do not like Liv Morgan for her in-ring ability. If we're being completely honest, she is not one of the best in the ring. She just not. Bully Ray did an interview, I think it was earlier this week, and he actually put it spot on. When it comes to the promos, especially the one that she had after she won the belt, he said it felt like listening to somebody play wrestling. You know, it seemed like she obviously had a whole lot more work to do, and I think we all knew in the back of our minds that Liv Morgan still has a lot of work to do. Congratulations that she won the belt, but I mean, now it's really going to show who she is in the ring. Now the whole Liv Morgan, she deserves it. She's next. She needs. Now that she got the belt, now it's time to actually pay attention to how she is in the ring. And I think this realization is going to come a whole lot faster than people expect, to show that she's not a long reigning champion. She's not. She's not going to be a long reign champion. And honestly, it wouldn't be believable even if she was. I don't see this. I don't see the hype lasting more than a month or two. And I don't see the championship reigning no more, maybe than 3 months. And that's pushing it, honestly. So I give her credit for her work ethic, but she's not one of my favorites to watch in the ring. She's not one of my favorites to listen to. She's a pretty face, I'll give her that. And you know, she got crowd, she got support, but that's about it.
She is hot. You know what I'm saying? Like a hot character, a hot person on the roster. Not meaning like attractiveness. I think that has to do with it as well. She is a pretty face, but she's green, and she's been green for a very long time, in my opinion. She got herself over. If you look at who she was saddled with before, she's still there. She got herself over, so she deserves it off of that merit. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. She should have been paired with Bray Wyatt instead of Alexa Bliss. That gimmick should be hers. It fits her better. Like she would have smashed it. Now they got Alexa Bliss doing freaking commercials talking to this freaking doll. That was the most cringeworthy crap I ever seen in my life. But I feel like Liv Morgan, that was her claim to fame. That should have been her gimmick. Now she's just the plucky underdog who won the champion, and that's all that she's going to be able to do. She's not able to be dominant. She's just going to be the brave face who goes out and fights. But that's not going to be enough to last. I don't think the crowd is necessarily going to turn on her as much as we're just going to see how limited she is, and they're going to realize they just can't stick with that for so long. Again, no hate on her. You know, some people just aren't naturally gifted in the ring. She's one of those people. She just has to work a little bit harder, and that's okay as well. She can still put on good performances, decent enough performances to keep herself in position or in, where she needs to be competing for the title. But I echo what you said. It's not going to last long. It's not going to be a very long reign. Hopefully it keeps her as a mainstay where they can go back to her whenever they need to. All she really needs to be is a believable champion. If she can be believable, that's all she needs. She's set for the rest of her career.
Y'all basically broke everything down for me, because I was happy for her, and I was proud that she won the Money in the Bank briefcase and cashed in and won the title, because like I said, I feel like she deserved it. But it just felt like something was off after that for me for some odd reason. And I just couldn't really figure it out. And I'm just so thinking, like, that's why I asked y'all a question after it happened the next day. I'm like, okay, how long do y'all think this is going to last? Because I'm just in the back of my mind, just something just didn't feel right. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm happy for it, but I'm like, I don't feel like she just is there quite yet, you know?
You said there's something missing. And what is her believability?
Yes. So like that's the thing about like that before. Then Raw came up, then like saw her like promo and everything. Okay. So it started dwelling me a little bit and everything, and just now I'm about to start paying attention more to her matches, more her promos, and just see how things flow and see how things go in the long run for her. Like I said, I hope she does have a successful title run. I'm just not sure the longevity of it. pretty much per se. Because SummerSlam is coming up, and that's a big pay-per-view, and usually on big pay-per-views, titles change.
Yep.
Titles usually stay the same on the regular non-big pay-per-view shows, but the big pay-per-view shows, that's when the title changes mainly. And so it might be a title change for her. I'm not sure. It depends on her opponent. It really depends on her opponent. If it's Ronda Rousey, she's losing it. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just being real. If it's Ronda Rousey, she's losing the title. If Charlotte comes back, she's losing the title. But
she's losing.
If Bayley, those three come back, she's losing the title. It is what it is, unfortunately. But yes, but I just think they just need a quick pop or something for that pay-per-view for Money in the Bank because they knew they didn't have their top dog or Roman Reigns there or Brock Lesnar yet. So it's like, okay, the tag teams matched on the show. They got Money in the Bank, which is just a big pop match right there in itself. And it just had to put ice on the cake and give Liv Morgan the title. But they better take that icing right back off.
I'm just not a fan of immediate cash-ins, me personally, unless there's somebody who's established like how they deal with Kane. It makes sense for Kane. What do you got to wait for? New people who've never won the title, that's just like a tailor-made run, like a chase that should build the character up. Instead of just having them win it immediately and then wing it to see if they have the stuff to hold the title. I'm just not a fan of doing it that way. It don't matter what I think ultimately, of course. But every time that happens, you look back at Jack Swagger and cats like that, nothing happened with them.
I agree with you on that. It just depends on the cash in, who cashes in. I feel like that was the best time for Liv Morgan to do it. I just feel like it's the best time because, like I said, she's been hot and she's hot of recent, and I just want to keep that going. Now, when Nikki did hers last year, threw everybody off when she won, and didn't expect her doing it the next day on Monday Night Raw. So that surprise element threw us off, I guess, because of the Raw after Money in the Bank. So it goes hand in hand real well. But I agree with the cash in of the Jack Swagger one because I was like a little so it just depends on the momentum for that wrestler. Now, if Theory had did it after the show, I wouldn't have agreed with it. I feel like that would have been too soon because I feel like with him, it's still starting to build up. Or when Otis had won it in the COVID era, I didn't feel like that would have been a perfect opportunity for him to cash in immediately, even though he never had the opportunity to cash in the Money in the Bank. But it's fine though, because Miz won, so I wasn't too mad. But yeah, it worked out. But I was still pissed about that. He should, yeah. Anyway, but that's just my 2 cents about it.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit. I'm sorry.
I'm mad over there.
Now I gotta put these words out.
Gable in the Dying Tag Team division. He ain't thinking about that no more.
Yeah, ever since he lost Mandy Rose and lost his beard and lost that briefcase, everything just been.
Not since he lost Mandy Rose.
Man, that's where it started. That man went
officially broke up. They just separated them. If you think about it,
yeah,
there's a possibility.
No, it's too late. No, he shaved his beard. A woman ain't gonna go back to a dude that ain't got no beard no more. If you was with him before, they ain't going back after. It's like if Harv shaved his beard. Have you seen Harv? When's the last time you saw Harv without a beard? 10 years ago. You say what?
You're gonna find out tomorrow.
Oh Lord. We should record the next day. Damn.
Oh man.
Damn, that was some news right there. But that's all news that we have for y'all today. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching episode 53 of No Roast Podcast. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all, respect y'all, and keep engaging with us in this wrestling community because we are here for the long haul and the long run. But before we sign out, y'all gotta do this one simple favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms: KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, No Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Roast Podcast, all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, probably on everything. And don't forget to get your merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR podcast. Damn, I look good in this light. I'm sorry. This is episode 53, KTR, #KTR, No Roast Podcast, and we are out.
What should they do? Big Harv.
I need y'all to make like Cinko's ego and pump those numbers, baby.
That don't compute in my mind, I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.